The idea of innovation came along with the onset of Industrial Revolution when the government started emphasizing more and more on the creation of research labs. Later, a Harvard Business School professor, Clayton Christensen, coined the term disruptive innovation, which means the innovation that starts at the low end of the market and simplifies a previously difficult process or cheapens a previously expensive product. Next, we'll be explaining the innovation audit framework and certain examples related to it. This matrix briefly describes the three axes, namely types, nature, and locus of innovation of the innovation audit framework. Coming to the types of innovation, the first one is business model innovation, where the entire business model is reinvented by either partnering up with some other organization or using training to enhance employee skills. The next is service innovation, wherein a new service is created or some new benefits are added to the existing service. The third is product innovation, wherein a new product is either developed or improvement is done with the existing product. Design and marketing innovation is done when changes in either the packaging, pricing, or any other marketing strategy of the product is done. New customer channel and market innovation is done when with the creation of the new distribution channel or tapping a previously untapped market. Technological innovation is done with the development of a new technology related to either production, service, or distribution channel. Process innovation relates to the implementation of a new or significantly improved production or delivery method. Management innovation relates to the modification of an entire organizational structure of a firm or the way the management works. Industry innovation gives rise to new industry or swallows the old one. For example, airplane was not the first mode of transportation, but it certainly was revolutionary.
Talking about nature of innovation, we have three different types of innovation: disruptive innovation, sustaining innovation, and efficiency innovation. Now, whenever a kind of innovation in which a new player enters into the market and creates a new market and challenges the incumbent, that kind of innovation is disruptive innovation. A new customer market has been created. Now, in sustaining innovation, incremental development of the already existing product is happening over the period of time, and the features get enhanced over a period of time. Now, when we talk about efficiency innovation, the time reduction, the cost in making and developing the product gets tremendously reduced over a period of time. That is efficiency innovation. Moving ahead, we'll look at the final axis of a innovation audit framework, that is locus of innovation. Locus, the term itself suggests that it is nothing but the place where the innovation happens. Now we have four different locus of innovation: small groups, projects, organizations, and business ecosystem. If we talk about small groups, it is small people who are not related to any organization which come together under a particular environment and they create innovation. If we talk about projects, these are some projects taken up by the companies or the organization, and these gets populated with innovation. Now, organization level, whenever the innovation is done at organization level, bring change to entire organization. That is organization locus of innovation. And finally, the entire business ecosystem, if gets disrupted or populated through innovative activities, that is business ecosystem locus of innovation.
So based on the three axes that we have defined earlier, we'll come up with 108 individual elements based on nature, type, and locus. So we have taken out 10 of those 108 elements and decided to show you how we are categorizing it. So let's take Chotupool for an example. Chotupool is a project that has been undertaken by Godrej. We have defined the nature as disruptive since it has reached a new segment of market overall which was untapped earlier. New channels and market means it has reached the rural market of India and has opened whole new opportunities. Also, IKEA we have mentioned as efficiency because previously the furniture was transported and it took a whole lot of space. With IKEA flatbed technology, it has made the whole transportation process very efficient. And thus we have mentioned the type as process. And since IKEA as an organization was the first to do it, we have mentioned the locus as organization. So as explained earlier, those three axes would be having 108 elements based on nature, type, and locus of innovation. So we have defined in a framework that will imagine all the 108 categories as individual cubes with each cube representing a unique element based on nature, type, and locus of innovation. So, and we have also given examples of the company that have been implementing it. So these cubes would then form part of a bigger cube which would contain all the individual categories combined together.
Absolute Water has installed India's first ever 100% organic water recovery plant with the help of enhanced technology. Moreover, it can also be operated by unskilled labor. IKEA has always been associated with innovation as it's built on the unique strategy of ready to assemble furniture. Also, recently, it has given its customers an option of viewing how furniture will look in their home settings via augmented reality. That way, IKEA has always put customer experiences at the heart of their marketing strategy.
Talking about the minimals, minimals basically disrupted the market by having a process innovation in terms of using the scrap metal as a starting material. Minimals basically took over the incumbent, the integrated mills, by making 20% cheaper rebar than the integrated mills. And over a period of time, the integrated mills have to make exit from the ecosystem. And this is a business ecosystem wide kind of innovation that's been taking place through the minimals. Hence, it could be called as a disruptive process innovation under the business ecosystem. Now, talking about Netflix, Netflix started as a website where people could rent DVDs through the mail. Netflix appealed to the customer groups who didn't care about new releases and were not the early adopters of DVD players and could wait for having the DVD at a cheaper prices. Now, with the rise of online media, Netflix came into the board and disrupted the entire market and knocked out the movie shops out of the game. So it could be clearly stated under the disrupted business model innovation, and which is an organizational wide locus. Airbnb is another classic example of a disruptor. Now it created market for shared economy by tweaking with this business model. It tapped the market of price sensitive, experience seeking customers by just having innovating the business model. Now, if we talk about Airbnb, it allows hosts as well as the guests to be on the platform where it can create a shared economy kind of a market.
Uber. Each one of us has used Uber at some point in our lives. Now let's try to understand where Uber fits in our model of framework. The y-axis, that is the type of innovation for Uber, is sustaining. X-axis, that is the nature of innovation, is service. And the z-axis, that is the locus of innovation, is business ecosystem. Now Christensen argued that Uber is not a disruptive but a sustaining innovation model. He gives us some points and let's look at those points. Christensen argues that Uber is a sustaining model because it does not operate at the lower end of the market. It is cheaper than the other taxis, but it is not of inferior quality. There is no new market foothold that Uber caters to. There was already a market which was being catered to by the local taxi, and Uber has just entered into that existing market. What Uber has actually done is it has enhanced the business with the extensive use of technology. Intel. Now let's try to understand where Intel fits in our model of framework. The y-axis, that is the type of innovation for Intel, is sustainable. X-axis, that is the nature of innovation, is technological, and z-axis, that is the locus of innovation, is project. Intel launched its first microprocessor in the year 1971, the microprocessor 4004. In the following year, that is in 1972, the company launches its first 8-bit microprocessor, an improvement over its predecessor 404. In 1973, Intel develops PLM, the first high-level language for microprocessors. Later in that year, the company introduces software development tools so as to enhance the sales of its microprocessors. Instagram. Now let us try to understand where Instagram fits in our model of framework. The y-axis, that is the type of innovation, is sustainable. The x-axis, that is the nature of innovation, is design and marketing. And the z-axis, that is the locus of innovation, is organization. Throughout years, the platform has implemented innovative ways to improve user experience. Now, I am sure all of us has used Instagram and you must have used this function the explore function also. Now, whenever we try to search something in Instagram, you must have seen in the latest version of the Instagram, there's this whole list of other pages that you might like. Now, this is a personalized feature which has been added on to this version of Instagram, which wasn't present before. So, this is the sustainable improvements over the previous versions that the company is doing. Today, 86% of the top global brands are active on platform. Now, it is almost impossible to imagine any company not present on Instagram for the purpose of marketing, because today social media marketing is the truth of the world, and each company has to be there to make its presence felt.
The next example is Godrej Chotocool. It is a small portable refrigerator that operates on batteries. Now let us see where it is placed on our framework of innovation audit. The nature of this innovation is disruptive, and there are two reasons why we've classified it as disruptive innovation. The first reason is that rather than having the most advanced cooling technologies, Chotocool uses only inferior technology to provide basic cooling features that help keep daily need food fresh. The second reason is that it enables access to a new segment of customers, that is the rural consumers of India. These people did not have access to electricity or have the purchasing power to purchase large traditional refrigerators. The type of this innovation is new channels and markets. Apart from having created new markets, Chotupool also used new channels of distribution by partnering with various NGOs and also partnering with women micro entrepreneurs. Since all of this happened at a project-wide scale, the locus of let's have a look at synthetic fibers in terms of our innovation audit framework. The nature of this innovation is efficiency. Synthetic fibers help cut down production costs in various products. For example, silk was popularly used to produce stockings before the invention of nylon. However, nylon soon became more popular as it provided an inexpensive alternative to silk stockings. Synthetic fibers are a result of developments in production related technologies, and hence this type of innovation is technological innovation. Synthetic fibers have altered the way business is conducted in various industries, and hence locus of this.
So the actual problem occurs when the company. So one of the important measures of innovation is how much financial advantage are we having from the innovation. So for simplicity purpose, we have just taken a sample data table which represents investment in innovation for a company in the last 5 years and increase in profits for the same period. So we have entered the data manually right now, but you if once you have the company's data, you can enter it from there. And then what we have done is we have find out the correlation between the two variables and then plotted a summary of it. So what we can see from the adjusted ASCA value is the value is coming out to be 0.99. So the closer the R value is to 1, the stronger is the dependency between the two variables. So we can see that increase in profits is highly dependent on investment in innovation. So this is just an example. The company can use it on a smaller level as well, like on a project level, how much investment has been done in a project and what is the increase in profit from the particular project. So from this demo, we have just tried to explain that how we can measure the financial impacts of innovation. So one more method that we have devised is we'll be asking questions to the company on the types of innovations and nature of innovation that they have been doing. Let's suppose a company is doing product innovation that's disruptive. So we'd be asking them questions such as Have they done any improvement in the existing products or number of patents that have been filed in the last year? Or are the employees encouraged to spend time apart from the working hours to develop a new product? And when the product is developed, how can we measure that it's disruptive in nature? So we'll be asking questions such as were the margins lower than usual when the new product was launched? Because the disruptive nature is that the margins should be lower for the new product that has been launched. Also, was the innovation successful in creating a new customer market, which is at the bottom of the pyramid and was not tapped earlier? So there are some other questions that we have devised, and based on that, will be giving ratings to the company and will be dividing them categorically. So some other questions are how much time spent in exploration leads to innovation? How many number of new ideas were tried by the companies? How many number of new projects that use new technologies and number of projects to change the current way of doing business broken down by new technology processes. So these are so there are a few other questions that are there, like the amount of time employees spend developing new ideas into proposals and the number of employees suggested projects attempted, because the company not usually takes the employees ideas into consideration. That hinders the innovation actually. And also the company policies that have been adopted to increase innovation in a company. We would be measuring that with the help of few questions as well. And then we would also be focusing on the revenue produced by this initiative, as financials play an important part in innovation. So based on the questions that we have asked, we'll be coming up with a rating for the companies, and that we've divided it into three tables. So the first table represents the type of innovation and the nature of innovation. So if a company is doing business innovation which is disruptive in nature, we'll be giving rating in the particular column. The second table contains type of nature and locus of innovation. So if a company is doing business innovation on an organization level, we'll be giving the ratings in the particular category. And the third contains nature of innovation and locus of innovation. So if a company is doing disruptive innovation at an organization level, we'll be giving marks in the following categories. So based on those, we'll be coming out with a cumulative ratings, and thus each company would belong to a particular category with other companies which are doing the same type of innovation. And based on that, we'll rank a company as compared to other companies which belong to the same category. So thus a company would be able to know with the help of our matrix where does it stand in comparison to the other companies which are doing innovation which is of the same nature. Thank you.